And this is 205 and 206 for 8th grade language arts. You have these two assignments due Friday at 4 o'clock. So please make sure that you turn those in. We are going to talk about 2.06 today. We're going to focus on the introduction assignment. Okay? So we're going to focus on that. 2.05 you guys are going to do on your own. Okay? 2.06 we are going to go over now. So make sure you have your lesson pulled up and your notes pulled up. So the 2.06 objective, again, 2.05 you're going to do on your own. 2.06 objective, after completing this lesson, you will be able to define thesis statement and hook as they apply to informational writing. Write an effective thesis statement for a cause and effect informational article. Identify options for writing an effective hook for an introduction. Write an effective introduction for a cause and effect informational article. So last week we worked on your graphic organizers for the informational article, and you have your topic picked. Okay, you're doing automobiles or cell phones or antibiotics. And this week what you're going to work on is your introduction paragraph. So what we're really focusing on today is your introduction paragraph. So the introduction paragraph is like a triangle. You start with your hook, then you have your important information, and then you have your thesis. So the first thing in your introduction is a hook, and we're going to talk about specifically what type of hooks to use. The next thing is important information, so that's your background information. And then the last thing in your introduction paragraph will be your thesis. Okay? So we need to focus on our hook to start with, our background information, and then our thesis. So when we're looking at, guys, I need you to pay attention, stay focused. We can ask questions at the end, okay? How do you write an effective hook? So one of the first things that we are looking at is the hook. Your hook is the first part of your introduction. For your article, you will use one of the following options: a fun, unexpected, or surprising fact about your topic, a statistic that will surprise your reader. Okay? So these are the two. When I'm grading your introductory paragraph, hooks. These are your two options. Now you may know other ways to do it, but for this, for the rubric, what we're looking at is one of these two ways. So you can do a fun, unexpected, or surprising fact, or you can do a statistic that will surprise your reader. Please, please do not ask a question. Asking a question is something that you were trained how to do back in elementary school. It's a great option for those grade levels, but now that you're big 8th graders, it's really important that you're using for the hook one of these two things. So a statistic that's surprising, or a fun, unexpected, or surprising fact about your topic. Okay, so we are definitely not starting off our hooks with a question. Okay, because remember, this should be third person point of view, so we're not talking to our reader. All right, let's see, how many of you will put a number 1 if you'll use a fun, unexpected, or surprising fact, or number 2, a statistic that will surprise your reader. And I know that somebody asked that this can be a review. Of course, this can be a review if you'd like to stay and have it be a review. Number 2, statistic. Number 1, fun, unexpected, or surprising fact. Okay? And again, it doesn't matter to me which one you do, but you need to do one of these for your hooks. Okay? And hopefully last week when you turned in 2.04, you did some awesome research, so you have some really good information to share with your reader about your topic. So that's a hook. So let's look a little bit more at hooks. An effective hook. And again, you guys, this is right from the lesson, so you can go back and put this in your notes. This is just kind of an overview so we can walk you through it. An effective hook. You will spend 1/3 of your life sleeping. Thankfully, this time is much more comfortable since the invention of foam. Okay, interesting. It's a fact. It's kind of random, and it ties into obviously their papers about foam. And ineffective. The iPhone is the coolest invention of our time. Everyone should get one because they are so incredibly useful. I love them. Okay? Why that's ineffective is because, first of all, it's first person and it's an opinion. Okay, so let's look at the other effective hooks. So another effective hook, this is how your hook should look. Sometimes you probably eat every day. Something you probably eat every day was once banned in the United States, sliced bread. The only thing that I don't like about this is the U. So you could change it and put something that people eat every day was once banned in the United States. That would be good. That's an effective hook. An ineffective hook, rubber bands are very useful. Doesn't give us a lot of information. Right? Another really good effective hook. The Nobel Prize is a set of awards given to achievements in the arts and sciences. Yet it is named for the man who invented dynamite. Okay? Interesting. I didn't know that. So that's something interesting about the Nobel Prize, and it will help me want to read more. Notice this ineffective. Hello, my name is Taryn, and I'm going to tell you how the bicycle transformed society a century ago. Okay? Hello, my name is, something great that you learned when you were little and younger and you were first writing, but that's not what we do now for 8th grade. Okay. Sabrina or Madison, did you have a question? All right, guys, I need you to make sure that you're paying attention. Marie, it's because they're giving you, that was something in elementary school for a narrative style writing that you did. Okay? What I want you to focus on is these effective hooks. This is what you should have. So when you are looking at writing your hooks should be over here in the effective hooks. And remember, you want to go back and make sure that it's a fun, unexpected, or surprising fact or a statistic that will surprise your reader. Okay, so that's what you're doing for your hooks. Easy peasy, pick one of those to do. And make sure yours looks more like the effective hooks. Okay, so that's one part, is the hook. Give me a thumbs up if you're comfortable with hooks and you understand that what your effective hook should be. Good. Remember, this is what you're graded on. When we look at the rubric, this is one of the things that you're graded on. Awesome. The next thing, your thesis statement. Okay, so thesis statement is super duper important. A lot of you, it should be a review, but let's just go over it to make sure everyone really understands. Okay. It's a complete sentence that identifies the central idea of a text. The author's idea about the topic that can be supported with valid evidence. It's usually placed at the end of an introduction. So your thesis is usually at the end of the introduction. It's the last sentence of the introduction, and it's the main idea of the entire essay. So everything that in your essay should resort back to the thesis. Everything refers to the thesis. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Thumbs up if you can hear me okay. All right, Fino, you may have to log out and log back in. So your thesis, as I was saying, was really important. It's a specific idea about the topic in one sentence. It can be supported with valid evidence, such as facts, expert testimony, and research. Does not include feelings or emotions, and is written in third-person point of view. No use of the pronoun I. Okay? There should be no use of the pronoun I anywhere within your essay. If the thesis cannot be supported with valid evidence, then it's not a thesis. Really important that the thesis is supported with valid evidence. So what do I want to prove to my readers about the effects of the invention? because you're writing about an invention that's had a positive and negative effect on society. So your thesis should tell me that. Okay, so let's talk a little more about theses. Questions about thesis. How many sentences should a thesis be? So good job, Sophia. Excellent. A thesis is one sentence. Thank you, Marissa. So a thesis isn't a couple of sentences. A thesis is a one sentence main idea. Okay, so really important to understand that it's the complete sentence at the end of a text, and it identifies the central idea of the text. So your thesis is one sentence. Okay? And where in the introduction should the thesis go? Okay, guys, there's 18 of you in here, so I am sure a lot of you have more opinions. So let's all participate so we get credit for this, okay? So we talked about this, and if you look all the way back here, your introduction starts off with a hook. This is the introduction paragraph. The hook, the background information, and the thesis. Okay, so the thesis is usually placed at the end of the introduction. So your thesis is the last sentence of the introduction paragraph. Okay. And how many sentences is a thesis? The thesis statement is how many sentences? One. Good job. All right. So it's the last sentence of the paragraph. It's one sentence. And it needs to be written in third person that you can support with valid information. Okay. So now let's put it all together. The background information we really didn't go into detail on because that's information that's going to help your hook and your thesis. It's kind of general background information about the topic. So let's look at an example together. Everyone look on the screen and I'll read it out loud as you read it to yourself. It says, putting it all together, this incredible introduction has all three parts: hook, important information, and a thesis. Facebook, Friend or Foe is the title. Before 2009, there was no Pinterest, and prior to 2006, no Twitter. YouTube made its appearance in 2005. Facebook didn't hit the scene until 2004. Today's students probably have never heard of 6degrees.com, the first of its kind in 1997. Okay. So the first part, what was that? The one that's blue. Yes, Sidara, go ahead. Thank you for asking. In blue, which part of the introduction is that? Is that your hook, your background information, or your thesis? Good, it's your hook, okay? And is it an interesting fact or a statistic? So our choices for hook is an interesting fact or a statistic. Don't just put the answer because other people do, guys. Thank you, Sabrina. It's an interesting fact. A statistic would be like 2 out of 3 people agree, or 1 out of 100. Okay. So they give you facts and background information. And then it goes on to your background information in the green. What do these names have in common? They're all social network websites, a category that didn't even have a name in the early 1990s as the internet took off. So the green is your background information. It's going to tie your hook and your thesis together. You don't want to go too in-depth in the introduction. You give general background information, and you're not putting any quotes, direct or indirect quotes, in your introduction. Okay? It just serves as an introduction. Save all those direct and indirect quotes for your essay, for the body parts of it. And now we come to the thesis. Social networking continues to grow in popularity due to the many advantages it offers, though concerns such as privacy also increase. So your thesis is one sentence, and it's the major idea of the entire essay. So we can tell that everything we are going to read in this essay is going to be about social networking and the advantages and disadvantages. So you'll see social networking, advantages, positive effects, concerns, negative effects. Just like in your essay, you are researching either automobiles or antibiotics or cell phones, and you're going to put the positive and negative effects of those two. Thumbs up if you understand, if that helps clarify it. Okay, so everyone, when you turn in your introduction this week, yours should look like this, but just be based on your topic with your researched information. Okay, so let's look and identify the best introduction. So introduction 1, the most famous plumber in the world has never even touched a real copper pipe. That's because the plumbers, Nintendo's Mario and Luigi, are not real themselves. This year, about 1 billion feet of new real pipe will be installed. Indoor plumbing is an underrated invention that gives multiple benefits, such as clean drinking water that many take for granted. Or introduction 2. Indoor plumbing has been around for thousands of years. Before there was indoor plumbing, people had to carry water long distances. They had to warm it up in small batches. Deep baths were a luxury few enjoyed. In many parts of the world today, access to clean drinking water is still a challenge. Even once it is installed, indoor plumbing can be costly to maintain and repair. So which one of these is the better introduction and why? Which one is the better introduction and why, most importantly? Okay, there's 18 of you in here. I should have a lot of people. But you need to tell me why, not just which one, but why. Okay, so let's kind of break this down. I was giving everyone a chance to answer. Okay, hooks. So interesting fact or statistic. Which one has a better hook? Okay, so which one has a better hook? Introduction 1 or introduction 2? Okay, so indoor plumbing has been around for thousands of years. Is that a quote, or is that a statistic or an interesting fact? No, pretty basic. Not really that interesting a fact because we all kind of know that. Colin, you're right. Introduction 1 is much better because it's different than intended characters, and we've never thought about it. They are probably the most famous plumbers, but they've never even touched a real copper pipe, okay? So the hook is stronger in Introduction 1, okay? And then there's some background information given about new real pipe. And then which one has it? What is the thesis in Introduction 2? Since a lot of people said that Introduction 2 was better, what's the thesis? So if the thesis should be the last sentence, is the thesis, even once it is installed, outdoor plumbing can be costly to maintain and repair? Is that a thesis? It is? If the whole essay is about indoor plumbing, no. So actually, guys, believe it or not, and this is why I put this one up here, is Introduction number 1 is a better introduction. Indoor plumbing is an underrated invention that gives multiple benefits, such as clean drinking water that we take for granted. That's a very clear thesis. Okay? So you have an interesting hook, a little bit of background information, and then a very clear thesis. And that's what makes Introduction number 1 better. It's because the hook, the background information, and the thesis is much clearer. Questions on why number 1 is a better introduction? And if this stumped you guys, if you're kind of like, ooh, I don't really get this, Mrs. Bailey, you can stay at the end and we'll talk about it. You can also go right to the lesson, and there's a couple more examples of this. Okay, so let's do another one. The first wheel was not used for transportation. In 3500 BCE, they were used as potter's wheels, about 300 years before the first chariots. Though wheels enjoy wide fame as an important innovation, their uses far exceed easing human transport. Wheels have also innovated in the fields of justice, entertainment, and work. Number 2. The wheel is the best invention ever created by humankind. It was created thousands of years ago. I think whoever thought it up must have been really smart and probably became rich because of the invention. Without modern society, it would not be possible. Okay. So, thumbs up if it's Introduction 1, thumbs down at Introduction 2. Which one is better? Yes, I think that this one's a lot easier to understand. Okay, Introduction 2, as Colin was saying, is rambling and first person. Introduction 1 has a clear hook, a clear background information, and definitely a great thesis. Wheels have also innovated in the fields of justice, entertainment, and work. Good. That one's a lot easier. So let's look at our reminders. 205, Cite Your Sources quiz. I'm going to read that. Do that on your own. 206, focus on the introduction, the assignment. Okay. For Module 2, we are working on your cause and effect essay for the entire thing of Module 2. So this week we're doing the introduction. Next week we'll be doing the body paragraphs. Okay, so really important that you guys take your time and do the best on this. Okay, I'll put the form for Google Attendance in a minute. What questions you guys have? And next Monday, there is no school. It's a teacher duty day, so there will not be a live lesson next week. I'll send out a recording. Okay, the following Monday, there will be.